Hello, hello. Welcome to Sparkle.Sanctuary. My name is Rebecca. So today is a little bit of a different video. I had a whip and chat not too long ago, about a month ago, I think, where I had mentioned that I don't support purchasing AI art. I do have a few in my stash that I accidentally purchased before I became an informed consumer. I don't know if those will ever be featured on my channel at any point, but it is what it is. I have them. I was also gifted one at one point, but I digress. Anyway, after that conversation I had in my whip and chat, I had people ask me questions about getting some additional information, how to spot AI, where to look to seek out to find that information, and just how we can just be more informed consumers in general when it comes to consumption of artificial intelligent work that is out there for purchase. So I decided to break this down. As the reason why it took me a little over a month to produce is because I wanted to break it down into multiple parts, and I wanted to make sure I did plenty of research so that I could answer additional questions if you have some in the comment section. Hopefully you will follow along with this journey. I have some interesting things going on here. So what I have is a computer out so that I can show you different companies currently that are selling diamond paintings, that how you spot their AI and whether or not their artist uses artificial intelligence when producing their pieces. And then I also wanted to share a little bit more about my thoughts and just kind of put it all in one video. So I hope the beginning of this won't be too much of a repeat from my whip and chat if you saw that, but I will go ahead and I'll put in like a timestamp here if I can remember, and it'll tell you when to get to part 2. So this will be a 3-part video. The first part will be kind of a recap on my feelings on AI and why I don't support it and my issues with it. Number 2, companies and how they use AI, what artists use them, and how you can spot them. And number 3 is actually ways that if you are interested in purchasing AI, instead of if you're going to make a purchase of AI anyway, then companies that you can go to purchase without breaking your bank and creating your own art. So, and I think that will kind of show how easy it is kind of to actually make your own images. So hopefully you'll join the ride. Like I said, I will try to put timestamps in here for the different parts. And yeah, I just hope you would find this video informative. I'm really not out here to shame anybody. If you purchase AI, please, 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 this is my disclaimer at the beginning. If you purchase AI, if you like AI, if you want to continue to support that, that is perfectly fine. I just know personally, once I learned about it and I understood a little bit more, I wanted to be a better informed consumer, and I chose not to support it. And I thought other people would really like to know this information as well, know better how to spot it, and be able to be informed consumers, because I think ultimately that's what we want, is to just make sure that we're supporting artists. I think anybody who purchases diamond paintings from reputable companies that spend the money, like the bigger companies where you're spending more than just like say Temu or whatever, you're doing it because you want to support the artist. And so if you hear some of this information and you still believe that you're supporting artists, then great, good on you. Keep doing what you're doing. I just want to make sure that people are well informed. Please, in the comment section, if I missed anything, if I left anything out, please feel free to sound off. I am human and flawed, and I may have missed things. So I'm just trying to put as much of cumulative information in one spot as possible. I always want to know more. I want to learn more, and am curious to see what other people have to say. So I will go ahead with part 1. I'm going to pause this here for a moment and kind of talk to you about just recap my thoughts. Number 1, I think the big thing, and so I'm going to pull up my notes so that I can see I want to remember everything. So I had a few key points for my opinion why I don't support AI in any capacity. I don't even support it when artists use it, or, like any artist can say, well, they use AI as part of a tool, but just what I've been seeing more and more of maybe decide just not to support it at all. So number 1, a lot of times in AI, the details are just a bit off. I will show that when I show you a couple of these images, and when I look up these diamond painting companies, I'll show you what I mean, but just know the human perspective seems off. I saw an image recently. It was probably from Dreamer Designs, but it was like a picture of a stove, and next to the stove was a jug or a jar that was on the floor. And the angle of the top of the jar, so when you're looking at a jar, especially if you're looking at it going straight forward, the jar is going to look more like that. And the angle of the jar was more like this. And little things like that, where things just are off from the eyesight point of view. And it will also be like effects of lighting and angles. So if you're looking at an image and it's maybe a castle or a tower, and you're looking at it from the corner, where the lights are and where the angles are should line up with your viewpoint and perspective of human view. And when you can tell that it's AI, it just is always off skewer just a little bit. And the light source, where the light source originates from, is also just slightly off. The one thing that AI cannot capture that the human eye captures is viewpoint. And so that is one of the errors that it has currently. Now, AI is constantly improving. And so I'm noticing more and more that vantage points and things like that are improving, but there are always still little things that we can see that are off about these images. Again, I will show you some of these companies and show you some of the images and why I believe they're AI because of these little details. So I'll get to that here in a little bit. Number two, I don't really want to call AI art. It is content. It is content, but I don't feel like it is art because it wasn't created by us. It was created by a machine. When you have art, there's depth, there's emotion, there's thought, there's perspective. It's a form of expression. It's a form of communication, and it comes from an artist. So somebody who utilizes tools and creates something. Now, I'll get into whether or not it's a tool, but with that, I don't believe it's a tool. And so I feel like it's just some kind of content that can be tweaked to make your own or can just be printed the way it is. And the fact that it can be printed the way it is part of why I struggle with calling it art. So AI to me, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to offend people here, but AI is somebody who has imagination and vision without actually being able to do it themselves. So if I went to an artist and I said, hey, I have this vision of a pickle driving a truck, and the pickle's actually pink, and the truck is heading down a highway, and there's a weird high heel on top of it. I'm asking the artist to create that for me, and I'm not really creating it myself. So I would not call myself an artist. And so I believe that creators who create the content of AI art, AI content, I don't think that they're creating art. I think that they're utilizing a mechanism. I think that they're utilizing technology to make something for them that they can visualize, but that they can't put it into effect conceptually without that. I hope that makes sense. I kind of liken this to making, I don't know, say Twinkies in a factory. You push the button and it creates the Twinkies, but you don't create the Twinkies, you're pushing a button. The machines inside the factory are all put together, they're all put into place by other people and by other tools, but then they create a machine and the machine pops out all of these Twinkies, but you didn't create them. And the machine itself didn't actually create the Twinkies either. It was created based on the backs of somebody else's creation. So it all kind of comes together into being a little bit of a sticky mess, which is why this is such a contentious topic and why so many people have issue with it, and why some people say AI art is art and it's fine, and why other people say not to. So this is just one of those kinds of things that it really depends on what side of that perspective you fall on. But I will say, you are not a baker if you push a button and make Twinkies in a factory. That's where I'm going to say, I don't think that people who use AI to create content are artists. If they can create art on their own, fantastic. That's art. But when you utilize it as a crutch and it's all you have, I really don't feel like you're an artist, and I don't think you're supporting other artists. Chat prompts, that is really what AI comes from, is chat prompts. They can be done by large amounts of people. No, not everybody can do chat prompts because not everybody has the imagination and vision, right? So really that's kind of how this buckles down. Do you have vision? Do you have imagination? Do you have an ability to, think of really neat concepts in your brain? And if you can create these AI concepts. And so a lot of us that do any kind of hobby generally have some kind of creativity in our brains. I think that a lot of us can actually be these content creators without even realizing that we can do that, which is why I want to show you at the end different, like how easy it is to actually create. In fact, I have one that I created that I plan to unbox and another one to show you. So yeah, stick around to the end and I'll show you some of these interesting things that you could possibly utilize yourself. Another point that I have on why I won't support it is because of the cost for companies. I did make a purchase. This was given to me, but this one that I purchased that I'm going to unbox for you all, I purchased on Temu. This cost me $8.50, I think is what it cost me. Is it bent in half? Yes, but it is poured glue. So this is going to flatten out eventually. This one came bent in half as well, and it's laying pretty flat. So I want to show you because if I can buy this for $8.50 on some market somewhere, spending $75 on a diamond painting that is generated by an AI artist really is not putting money into the pockets of artists. It's putting money into the pockets of AI. And it shows those companies we want to continue to purchase AI, which means that they're producing more AI art because it's faster and easier to produce. And so then artists end up losing their jobs. So that's actually my third point. A lot of artists feel like AI takes away from art appreciation. It's fast, it's easy. And not only that, but it's a lot of it is learned off of the backs of other artists. And that learning has not been given permission by these artists. In fact, there's a term that you can actually put, and I'll show you in this image, the person who made this image for me, he just did a chat prompt, but he said in the style of a particular artist. And that I think is where a big, big, big portion of the contention comes from for a lot of these people who actually genuinely create art by hand and not using AI to do that art, whether it be, digital or paint or pencil or whatever they use, whatever medium. That just seems really unfair. And so these artists are actually losing commission on these jobs. If an artist takes 3 months to create a piece and they can only put a piece out every 3 months, then one of these companies is only going to be able to purchase from them every 3 months. But AI generated art can be done in mere seconds. And so when you have that happen and you have multiple AI pieces that you can put out daily or even hourly, that leaves a lot of the playing field to go to the AI art. And so that fast and easy aspect really makes it hard to appreciate the art that you're seeing and the amount of time, energy, and effort it takes to put into it. There are lawsuits that are out there currently regarding AI and the stolen artwork that's in there.
Part of why AI can't have a copyright.
There are some recent judges' rulings about these things, and it is being pursued. I will say, I pulled this up. So there are currently Midjourney, Stability AI, Deviant Art. Those are 3 that I know currently have, and Stable Diffusion are all under Stability AI, and Stability AI has got lawsuits out there against them because of people claiming that they are using stolen art. So just know that if you're purchasing from a company that has an artist through any of those labels, that there's a possibility that they're using stolen artwork to create their art, which is really sad because it takes away money and just knowledge of the art community of these artists. And I know some of these things are because like watermarks have been found in images that have been created. So just do your research if you have questions about that. I will put a link in the description below for the different lawsuits that are out there so you can see some of that information. But yeah, this is definitely something that should be looked into further and needs to be monitored and followed. Very, very strictly followed, I believe. Okay. And then my last point, my fourth point before I go and show you exactly how you look up artists is the argument of whether or not it's a tool. We kind of touched base on that already, but I would say that AI is not a tool. I know a lot of people believe it is, but I personally don't believe it is. Tools take time, they take a learning process and repeated use to master. I could never, in my wildest dreams, pick up a paintbrush and paint and create the most beautiful art piece ever and expect it to sell because I don't know how to use paints and paintbrushes appropriately. Those are things that you're trained on and you learn how to do. I don't have those skills, but I do have creativity. So I could very easily, and I have gone in and created images. Now this one, like I said, is not mine, but I can show you how easily you can create them with just a few simple words. And I've created AI art. In fact, the butterfly at the very end of my video that plays with the song, my daughter plays an instrument at the end of my videos, and I just put it with an image of a butterfly because I don't want to show my children on my videos. But that butterfly was just like a 2-second prompt that I typed in asking for a purple butterfly. It doesn't take much. And it just needs to have, like I said, it has to have vision. So you need to know what you're looking for. And that's where that comes from. It takes time and energy and effort to learn these tools. And some of these people say they've learned it, but really it's just creativity. And creativity is not bad. I'm not saying it is, but just being able to throw your creativity into a chat prompt and then allow it to create something for you and then calling yourself an artist and calling it art. I don't know that that's necessarily the direction we want to go, especially if we're people that are choosing to support artists. Okay, so what I have here is, I will show you, my boyfriend ended up using Bing, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Okay, so sorry, I had to jump from that to this because I realized that name was on there that I didn't want you to see. But anyway, if you can see this painting of a steampunk girl, and a corset and skirt with a top hat and goggles, holding a shiny gear with fireflies and airships on the dusk background in the style of Josephine Wall. And the image that came up was actually this image right here. Okay. That image is actually this image. He had it printed and produced for me. So he bought this off of Temu. He spent less than $10 on it. And again, here is the original image, and here's the image he made. Now, he said that he hand rendered this image because there is a gear here in this, and he removed it to make it look a little bit more streamlined. So this is my problem I also have with hand altered images from companies. This is almost completely exclusively AI, but then he just removed this one little piece here and now it's been hand rendered. So I wanted to point that out. I did, like I said, this image came kind of folded in half. It was rolled up and then folded in half. And I just pulled the plastic back on this and then laid it back down. The plastic is cheap. It's just a cheap little flimsy canvas, but the letter, everything on it, let me put this down. Everything in here, it all looks good. Like I don't see any real issues with the symbols, with the letters, all of the colors. There's 22 colors and they're all here. You can see where it kind of folded, where it bent. But I mean, really, I think for just picking up a 50 by 50, which I don't believe this actually is. Let me measure this for you. It said it's supposed to be 50 by 50, but I think they measured the width, the full width of the canvas. Yeah, so they measured the full width of the canvas. This isn't even a 50 by 50. This is not even a 45. That's not even 45 centimeters by, yeah, not even by 45. So considering the detail and how small it is, I think this is actually a really decent image that I think plenty of people would purchase. So just kind of an idea out there so you can see how easy it is to create something and just put it on a canvas. Now, I labeled this myself. It came with a label, but the numbers match the top of that. It came with a tray and wax and things like that, but it's just 22 colors. It is round diamonds. I see little divots at the bottom of these, but none of them look like they're bad enough that they won't stick to the canvas. So these look like shiny diamonds though. So I don't see an issue with them compared to some of the other, bargain companies that are out there. So if you are the type of person that wants to spend your hard-earned money on supporting art, but you do also want to buy cheap images, this could be how you do it. You could create your own AI. It's for your own consumption. It's not for mass consumption, which I have no problems with. And I don't think anybody else would either. So I'll set that aside. I think what I also wanted to bring up about this is if we just make these little tiny adjustments, is this a tool or is this a crutch? Is this just a way for us to make something, to make money off of it so that it can be put out in mass? Is it a tool? Because if we're using AI to create a majority of our image, or even like if you struggle with making fingers, how are you ever going to get better at creating the finger drawings? You know what I mean? Like it has to be something where there is some give and take. And I understand maybe you want to support somebody that uses a little bit of AI, but how much is it? And us not knowing that is part of what bothers me as well. But this came simply from being Image Creator, which again uses Wally, which is one of the ones. It wasn't on the list that I mentioned earlier, but it has been mentioned in other websites that I've seen as potentially having stolen art from artists. I used Facebook Meta and I put in the style of Josephine Wall and it wouldn't let me do it. And so the fact that these Wally or Bing images will allow you to say in the style of means that they are likely using their art to create art. And I don't believe Josephine Wall has been one of the people that has said, yes, please go ahead and use my art. So just something to keep in mind with that as well. I also will just go ahead and unbox this. I was going to do this last, but I think I'm going to do this next because I already have this pulled up. I used a chat prompt and it said, I'll pull this back for you. Painting of a beautiful profile of an ice princess with flowing hair in the style of Josephine Wall, because I do like her images. I don't have any, oddly, but I do like her images. So this is actually, let me pull up this image. Sorry, I have to keep pulling this back off screen, but that is the image. And so I reached out to, I actually made this purchase on Temu. I said it costs $8.50 after rebates and stuff, but I'll maybe a little closer. She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. So I'm actually incredibly anxious to get into this. I haven't seen this yet. I haven't unboxed this yet. So if you don't mind, I would like to unbox this with you. I've been holding on to this for probably a week or two because I've been just trying to get my thoughts together on this. And so this has been folded for a while. I don't imagine this is going to look terribly pretty laying flat just yet. So I don't know. We will see. We will see. Because it wasn't like flat, flat, flat. Like this one was really, really flat, folded in half. And this one at least had a little bit of buckle to it. But let's go ahead and get this out of here. So I ordered my image in a 65 by 65. And there is a legend on the side. And it says there's 36 colors. This obviously didn't come with any special diamonds or ABs, which is perfectly fine. On the bottom, there is a picture of the image, and it has a SKU number. The size is 65 by 65 centimeters, and it does say that it's round diamonds. So let's unroll this and see. As you can see, it's just one of these cheap, kind of canvases. It came with a rubber band inside here, but not actually on anything. Okay, so it came with individually bagged diamonds. You see these in a lot of those really bargain companies. I don't love the idea of the plastic waste, but honestly, these diamonds don't look bad. I hate to say it, but they don't look bad. A lot of them are very, very flat, and they seem to have a decent amount of sparkle on them. So I will pull out maybe, so it came with a tray and a pen and wax, just your typical diamond painting tools. I want to get in and pull this out to see what's on it, to see if there's an additional inventory. So we shall see what this looks like. I'm a little bit excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'd like to see how well this turned out. Sorry for all of the crinkle. Okay, so it's beat up, but there is an inventory. I could put this through my Xyron sticker maker, and I can make stickers out of this and put them on containers. So, I mean, shoot, that's even better than some of the bargain companies that I've seen. So I'll just pull out one of these different drills. These are the really dark ones. These are really, so you can see, those are really pretty flat and they're sparkly. I have no concern at this time. Now, I haven't gone through and done a full inventory to see if they're here, if they're all here, or any is missing, but so far, I'm not mad at it. And I don't mind the color scheme. I love blues, and I love like wintry kind of blue and white kind of wintry theme. So I'm not mad about that either. I'll do an inventory on this. Well, you know what? I'm just going to do a quick inventory and I'll pop back here in a moment. Okay. So I did go through the inventory, and there is one discrepancy. They have number 327, and they actually gave me 333. Now, there is the exact same amount here that was supposed to be given for 327, and they are both purples. It is very possible that this purple will work for what I'm doing, but I will be looking through my stash to see if I have an additional of the 327, and I'll reach out to the company as well and just let them know that they made this error and see if they want to do anything about it. But honestly, I have such a good spare stash. I'm not terribly worried about it, but I wanted you to know that this did happen. It did not happen on the other image that I have, and my boyfriend bought that from a different company because, I mean, obviously these came in bags. Like, these are bagged in baggies. So just so you can see the difference in the companies that you purchase from on Temu and how that can differ in your experience. So I'll put this away. Ice Princess. Now, I don't know when I'm going to be opening this or doing this one, if I do it at all, but I want to make sure that's labeled for my storage. So let's flip this over and see what this looks like, shall we? Okay. So the canvas over here is a little bit bent, but honestly, like, it's the edge of the canvas. It doesn't affect the drill field at all. It does say diamond painting creates something beautiful at the top. And like I said, it has a legend on the top right and the bottom left. There's also some black scuffing down here at the bottom. I don't know what that is exactly. And when I'm looking at this, the plastic on here is actually two separate sheets because it's bigger. But this is thick plastic. Did you hear that? That like really pulled back thick. This is a really sturdy, thick plastic. Pull this back. And that is really, really sticky. But I feel like, honestly, considering the detail and the size of this image, I think this turned out really, really well. See, that section is already laying a little bit more flat, so we can do the other side. You saw how this came packaged. Considering how it came packaged and what you're looking at right now, I'm sorry, but this was worth $8.50. I'm so sorry again for the crinkle, but I'm going to lay this out. I think it was worth the money. I think she turned out very similar to the image. I'm going to go ahead and fix this side as well. You know, now that I'm looking at this a little bit closer, I need to look at this edging here because I'm not entirely convinced that this is poured glue. This is not. This is not poured glue. This is double-sided adhesive. So y'all, this is my very first canvas ever received of double-sided adhesive where the plastic was actually plastic and not those clear adhesive or those like the adhesive sheet, you know, the non-transparent ones that I'm talking about for double-sided adhesive. For those of you that don't know what double-sided adhesive is, basically it is a piece of glue tape that's put down on top of the painting instead of glue being poured onto the painting. I mean, usually when you unroll things like that, or you pull these back, you end up with tons of bubbles and rivers in them. I'm not really seeing any of that, as much as I'm just seeing lots of places where it was like crinkled because of the way it was packed and bagged up. If that makes sense. That's laying out pretty well. But now when I lay this plastic back down, the plastic is going to lay a little bit better. It looks to be fine. The image is beautiful. Let me pull up her eye for you so you can see this. I feel like the rendering is really good. The lettering is clear except for these dark letters. They could have used a lighter shade of white on top of them. But I mean, yeah. So the darker letters are a little bit harder to distinguish, but the light letters seem to be okay. I don't have any concerns with those. But I mean, overall, I like the way she looks. I think she's beautiful. And let me get you a reminder. Let me pull back up what the original image looked like so you can see that compared to what we're seeing in this diamond painting here. So again, just a reminder, there's the original image. So I don't know, I'm not mad at it. I think considering the content, let me see if I can put a little bit better side by side. I think they did really well with the rendering. You know, you can only get certain soft tones, and I think they did a pretty decent job blending her cheek blush and shadows because this is really pretty pink in here. You almost even see a little bit of this wisp of hair here from a distance, which I didn't anticipate being able to see because she has it in this. Let me pull that back up so you can see what I'm talking about. See, I'm talking about this little lighter wisp of hair here, not the stuff coming, not this, but this one. The earring is harder to understand or distinguish, but I mean, I think this looks pretty decent. So yeah, okay, well, we'll get back to, I'm going to clean this up and we'll get back to the next section. So really fast, before we get back to me showing you how to determine AI art, the other suggestion I have is actually just kind of checking out different companies if you see something that you do like. I know personally there was an image on Diamond Art Club that I fell in love with, and it was a snow globe. And the snow globe is gorgeous, but it is AI, and I just couldn't allow myself to buy it. I just couldn't do it. So I started looking at other companies, and it wasn't until this company that I saw this image that I thought this was similar enough that it actually marked that box for me that I wanted marked. So this is from Make Market, and it has 33 colors. I think this is just a beautiful little snow globe. There's lots of color blocking, which I love, but there's also way more confetti than you would anticipate. Like there's a lot of color changes in that section. So I just saw this and I fell in love with it, and it reminded me enough of that one from Diamond Art Club that I had to pick this one up. I had coupons and everything. It cost me $6 for this image, and it's not huge. It's not too big. There's not too many details. It's not too much to do. And so I just thought it would be a really good idea if you see an image that you really love, that you could ultimately do this as well. You could go and just find something on another website, because there's so many brands out there now that if you see an image that you love, you could potentially do this too. So I wanted to share that. So the next clip, the next time I see you, I will have you zoomed in and we will go in and start looking at different companies and how to see and tell whether images are AI or not. Okay, so I am hoping that I am close enough and for you all to see this. I'll touch base on each of these. Just I pulled up 4 random companies. Diamond Art Club is a very well-known one. Dreamer Designs is another very well-known one. And then some lesser-known ones are Diamond Painting Fanatics and then one with the diamond art. Not that they're not known, but just that they're not as purchased as often. They're not as big companies. Some companies, before I even get in here, I want you to know some companies will list AI in different ways. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. For instance, Diamond Painting Fanatics, if you go in and you shop, when you touch on these images, and I'm going to see if I can't find one. This is distinctly AI to me. And I cannot guarantee that this is AI until I know more information, right? This is one that I look at and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's AI. My eye says AI, but it could also be digital because there's some similarities between them. So on Diamond Painting Fanatics, you would actually look at the artist name, Charisma Art, and here you would have to go over to Meet the Team. And then in here are all of the artists, and she has identified them as AI in parentheses. So Charisma Art, yes, is an AI artist. I hope that makes sense. So I can click on Charisma Art, and I can look at their variety of diamond paintings that they have in stash. So if you look, Charisma Art has 54 items on her list. This is also very distinctly AI to me. If you look at So if you look in the areas like this, there's just a blending that is so superficial. The leaves look slightly off. Like if you look at this leaf here, I can't zoom in on that a little bit. Leaves don't typically have, like, especially if you're an artist, you try to make them look as realistic as possible. This leaf has like this extra bit of it that you wouldn't normally see, if that makes sense. Like this should have been like one piece here and then that should have been a piece. That is an indication of AI, just that error there. And then also if you look again at the angle of these pumpkins and the angle of the cat, we almost look like we're looking at this cat straight on, but the pumpkins then should be a little bit more flat and they're a little bit more tipped than they should be. So it's a lot of it is looking at the angle of the eyes and just the weird formations. Like these leaves look like leaves, but what kind of leaves are these? Like, what kind of leaf is that? You know? And so it's little things like that, little details that you can tell. So see if I can't go back. Another thing to note is that they will have multiple themes or multiple different types of art. This person has these like this style of drawing girls this way versus the style of drawing girls this way is very distinct and very different. Most artists will pick a style and then hone that skill. Also, like cats, this kind of cat that almost has a more realistic look to it versus this very cartoony cat versus this girl versus, this more fan art kind of versus this. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like they're going to have many different kinds of art that they do. So you see there's a style here that's pretty, some of these are very consistent, but like this is not consistent with these teacups. Does that make sense? Like most artists won't draw these fantasy kind of girls while also drawing teacup characters. But this is another fan art kind of thing, it looks like. So I'll go up and I'll pick another one. I'll pick one more artist. I don't know. Actually, let's go home. Let's go to the homepage of Diamond Painting Fanatics. And I'll just scroll and see if I can't find another artist or not. Okay, so just on the main page, we'll find another artist. We did Charisma Art of current kits available. This one has the AI in parentheses here, which I really appreciate. That's very interesting. I'm glad to see that. I wish they were all like that. And every company, honestly, I wish they were all like that. So you can see this is Carla Gerard. And if you come in here, you look, all of these are very similar style, right? So we're going to look into the team. here, and there's Carla Gerard, and there's no AI next to the name. So that's how you know this one isn't AI. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on from this company, and we'll look at another one to see if we can find other stuff. So we will close out of Diamond Painting Fanatics, and let's go into Dreamer Designs. So Dreamer Designs, they have AI. So we'll just kind of scroll and see what we can find in there. Let's just shop all. Now this is going to be going from your computer. It may not look exactly the same on your phone. This one looks AI to me, but we're going to skip that one. I want to go to one that I want to show you, like I can look at the details of it and say, yes, that is, here's why I see it's AI. I see a lot of these that I'm going, oh, that's probably AI. This artist who does some of these images have some kind of like Josephine Wall-ish feel to them. So I've always wondered if they were a person that does it in the style of Josephine Wall. This one, I am not seeing any indication. So what I'll do is I'll look at Spirit of the Rainbow, and I'll look and see, okay, they have a lot of these kind of rainbow texture female figure images. So then if I don't see that and I'm still curious as to whether or not they do AI, I will Google search. So I will come in here, we'll switch to Google, and we will say inspired AI art by a channel spirit wisdom that makes you feel fully alive. Is that it? Spirit of the Rainbow. This looks similar. They have a link tree. Okay, so yeah, a lot of these look like the same things that you find. I'm guessing this is the same artist. I'm looking for one of these images that is on this website here to verify if that's the same artist. Honestly, at this point, I would say, yeah, they're pretty likely the same artist. I mean, they're very similar, aren't they? I'm pretty positive this is the same artist. Okay, well, I'm going to give up on that for now. You can make a decision on your own as to whether or not you think that's the same person. I'm guessing it is. So that's just my thought. And usually on Dreamer Designs, there is an area where it talks about AI. At least on my phone it did. So I thought I had seen it on here as well. I can't say 100% for sure. Let's see if I can go to the next row. This is an image that I was kind of talking about, the Starlit Stove. And I want to see if they actually show on the website, because on my cell phone, there is a little place where it'll identify in faint print AI. And so I wanted to see if it's on the computer as well. And it looks like it's not available on their website. It's only available on the app. So on your phone, underneath the description, there is a very tiny, very light, faint gray says that it was created with AI. There's nothing here on this website that indicates that.
Sorry for the interruption. While editing this video, I decided to go ahead and look again on my phone at the Dreamer Designs website, and I'm noticing that not every image that is AI has that AI disclaimer. So I recommend also doing research when you see images on there that you like that are not obviously hand designed and may look like they are AI.
I'll just go ahead and use this example. So if you look here, if you look at this little smokestack, because there's little smokestacks in the background, but if you look at this little smokestack, it almost looks like it could be coming out of this, but it also doesn't. It looks like it could be coming out of the valley. And if it's coming out of the valley, then where's it coming from? There's some indistinguishable like little flower blossom over here that has a weirdness to it. There is this weird cup here. I'm not sure why the cup has what looks to be an eye or something on it. There's just some oddities to the image, and when we scroll down, I'll show you even more. The floor itself, the angle of the floor looks off. There's so many knobs on this stove, and the way it opens. How do you open it? How does that work? But it was a big thing. I had two big things over here. These two, if I'm standing and looking at this image the way you're supposed to be looking at it, I'm not going to be looking at that angle of the bowl. It should have been more flat. Like, I'm not sure why it's angled up so much that it looks like I'm almost looking inside of this basin. If that was the case, the basin would be more at my feet, right? It's not going to be all the way over there. Also, I don't know what kind of utensil that is, but that doesn't look good. So it's little things that just kind of, in an overall picture, this is pretty, right? when you step back and you look at that, you're like, wow, that's actually a really pretty picture. It's not until you zoom in and you focus on the oddities and the things that are just slightly off. I'm disappointed that the website here disclaimer that it was created with AI, but nothing on here does. And Dreamer Designs, I have to say, I had to scroll for a little bit and look because there's so many AI images on here, and AI is getting better about determining getting images looking a little bit more decent. And then also you have artists who go in and hand edit things to make it look a little bit better. Let's move on from Dreamer Design. The one with the diamond art, they don't give any disclaimers on their AI images. So let's just scroll down and see what we can find. Don't know which artist they have that is AI, which artist they do not. New arrivals. This one is AI. There's a weird, almost fuzziness to the feathers on her dress. Usually, if you're a hand artist, you will have a little bit more distinction in those feathers. See if this person has any other marshmallow art. I don't know if they have a place where you can, oh, here. Oh yeah, see, there's very distinct different styles between all of these different things that they're creating. It does look like they do a little bit of hand rendering on their stuff, but this is AI. I'm gonna look at this one just a little bit closer to see if I see any inconsistencies in the image. Here's the original. One thing is when you're looking at AI ladies, a lot of times there will be issues like their eyes will be partially open and not fully open, or their mouth will be partially open and not fully open. I do have to say this looks like it was hand touched up, or that this was mostly made with by hand and then AI went in and edited. But again, you can't tell. You can't tell, and that's part of the problem. So since we've been going for a little while, I'm going to go ahead and move on from the one with the diamond art, since I already told you they don't disclose. There are companies that don't use AI at all, and so if I can remember a few of those, I will list them below. Probably will forget to list them below because there's so many companies out there, and it really is just a matter of like looking up that artist. So let's go into, I want to actually look at their most recent Halloween drop so you can see the AI art that they have on Diamond Art Club and how they disclose their AI. So this one in particular, I saw lots of comments online. Come on, pull up. And then I'm so sorry this keeps going in and out of being blurry. This image. Okay. So this was mentioned a lot online. The broom goes in this direction down. So you would imagine with the angle of the broom that the end of the broom here would continue here and go this way. I don't know if you can see that cursor, but it would continue and go this way. But it looks like it's broken and actually goes up underneath her at an odd angle. I don't know that I've ever seen a broom that is broken right here and then continues to work. I know that she's supposed to be a witch, but that's what I'm talking about. Like that very odd discrepancy that was mentioned quite a bit online that I saw from people that were looking at this image. And I think it possibly was part of what kept people from purchasing. I have another reason why people might have looked at this and gone, there's something off about that. It is this arm. This arm that is supposed to be the right arm of the witch, because this is her left arm holding here. This right arm almost looks like it's coming from her chest or from in front of this arm instead of coming from the right side of her body. I will go ahead and zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, her thumb, this hand from a distance looks like it's on the opposite side, but like there's a fingertip back here. Where's that coming from? Like I don't see the attachment to the hand. And from a distance, like I said, it almost looks like a left hand reaching for it instead of actually wrapped around it because of the way the lighting is in the background and the stars. But it looks like this arm is an extension of whatever this is here. It just looks so off to me. That definitely looks like two left elbows. You see what I mean? So this image actually almost makes my stomach feel gross. And that's how I look at them and I start looking at details. And if it feels yucky, then I generally say, oh, that's AI. There was another one that sold out where the witch was standing with her back to us. I don't know that I can find that one because it was sold out. Give me a moment while I scroll and see if I can't find it. So here's another one that I just kind of wanted to point out that again, we're looking at what kind of leaves are these? They're not, they're not exactly what they should look like. And then also, what angle is she holding that broom behind her back? Because it almost looks like she's holding it in front of her, like the angle of it, if you were standing there holding it in front of you with your hand out in front of you. So how far back is her arm to be able to have the broom standing like that without it actually pressing up against her dress, keeping it from blowing it in the wind? There's something off about the angle of how she's holding her hand. Like the broom wouldn't look like that from that angle. And that's the kinds of things I'm talking about. It's just slightly off. There's just little things, like I said, on those. And so here's how you can see with Diamond Art Club. If you go and you look on their website, whether it's online or on your phone or wherever, there's nothing on here that identifies art as AI. What you have to do is you have to click on the artist, which on your phone, it will be at the bottom. And then that's when you will find information. So it says she incorporates AI into her stunning fantasy digital art pieces. But she also is the one who did The Witch's Night. How much of this is AI if you're not catching those little details that are so off? And these are selling out. They're pretty, but there's something off of them, just a little bit, just enough that they don't seem right. Like this one, either this cat is massive or these steps are incredibly small because they're only like 3 times the thickness. So a cat's foot, maybe that big. That's a lot of steps. Like, why wouldn't they have made the steps bigger? And then again, we're looking at weird discrepancies in the leaves. But that's a lot of little tiny, and how deep are those steps? Like, there's something about the angle of the steps and the way you're looking at them that is off. That's what I'm talking about. If you want to know about that, like I said, you just click on them and it'll show you. And then you can see they typically don't stick with the same genre. It'll have mentions of AI in their information. That's most of the time. I'm not saying every time. So what I definitely encourage you to do is if you look at an image and you're like, that's really pretty, this is definitely a person I've purchased from before and I know they're not AI, great. But if you do want to avoid the AI art and you're not sure, you can, like I said, you can go in and Google search. I'll find another one and we'll just kind of Google search them instead of looking at their bio, and then I'll compare the bio so you can see. So where's another one that I know is AI? Usually the best sellers are the AI art, which is what's so disheartening about all of it, because it sends a message that the AI is what people want. What's the point of licensing with artists that are not AI if the AI is what people want, which makes it hard for an artist to actually want to be sold? That one's questionable. Here is one. This one is sold a lot, All Claire Studios, but it is a studio. It's not a single person. And that is a pretty indicative sign that it's possibly AI. So let's go in. I will Google search All Claire Studio. I didn't put it in Google this time, I put it in Bing, so let's see what it says. It says, a collective group of international artists who are constantly pushing creative boundaries through new techniques and technologies. So let's pull that up and see if there's any more about information. We incorporate AI into our creative processes to assist with tasks such as color correction, image population, and the generation of new ideas and styles. So that is All Claire Studio. And if I go into Diamond Art Club and I click on All Claire Studio, so yeah, it says including AI. What I did want to do is go to, I'll just put Bing tools, because I think, so I just want to show you, like, imagine AI art generator, design.com, Canva. There's a lot of places that you can go that will generate AI images for you. So I want you to see how I can just type that in. Scroll down. The shoe is pink. The pickle isn't pink, but there is a pickle driving a shoe cart, and I didn't even actually put it into an image generator. I just want you to see, like, there's all kinds of image generators out there. I would like to say, if you are a fan of AI and you have an imagination and you want to create something for yourself, instead of paying somebody else to do it, you could do it yourself and get it for a much cheaper price on Temu or any other place where you can buy customs. AliExpress does customs, and there's all kinds of places that do that. So I just wanted you to see how easy it is. That was literally just me creating an AI image and letting this image generator do it for me. That's not actually using an app. And when you use the app, you can get a ton of detail out of them. Anyway, this video is going to be quite long as it is. I've got a lot of editing to do. Hopefully you find this useful. If you have questions or comments or thoughts or theories or anything that you want to say, if you don't agree with me, any of it, Put it all in the comment section below. I hope that this was informational. I hope you will take this as a person that's just trying to help inform people and help people better understand AI and what it's about and how it's impacting artists and the impact on us as a society as well, just for our finances, like spending all this extra money on premium kits when, people are being paid for taking very minimal time to create. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it, it's okay. I completely understand. It's not going to be for everybody. I'll leave you with my saying that I always do. Sparkle.Sanctuary is a place where you go to take care of your mental health. So make sure you're taking time to take care of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.